Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Thursday, everyone. It's November 21st, and it's safe to say that it's the most wonderful time of the year. Happy birthday, Saggy. Yes, it's officially Sagittarius season, and yes, I am bigging it up because I am biased. Absolutely. So I'm sorry for all of you other fellow, cosmic kin, where sometimes I forgot to say it on the day and so on and so forth. I love you. I really do. But we can all agree that this is clearly the most wonderful time of the year for so many reasons. But my Sagittarius sun in the second house agrees most of all. So if you are Sagittarius, I hope that you are celebrating with windfalls of abundance, enlightenment, achievements, accomplishments, adventure, discovery, new wisdom, new truth, higher knowledge, and great aspirations. A lot of all of what it means to be a Sagittarius in the first place. Hate it or love it. It may be the sign that you might, depending on where you are in the zodiac, you might hate to love, but you sure can't help but love, especially when you encounter a pure Sagittarius that really means to be inclusive and accepting and understanding of all people and places and things, like just holding space. At least from my perspective and my experience, just holding space for the best of all things. And then, of course, the Jupiter aspect is one of luck and abundance and expansion, which, come on, who doesn't want that? Who's not looking forward to that right now? You'd be crazy to want to keep being small, at least when you have the opportunity to be bigger. So anyway, enough of that, I suppose. Happy birthday, y'all. Cheers to a prosperous season ahead. All right, let's see what we got here today. Hey, Chariot card. Now this is Cancer energy, but definitely vibes of, again, shining prospect of victory ahead, like almost inevitable actually with the Chariot card. Like there's so much determination and will and drive to be victorious that it's irrefutable. So we love to see that. Yeah, it could even, practically speaking, it could be a new car, or it could be something around, circulating around a car, or transportation, maybe travel, perhaps. Maybe you're getting ready to travel for the holiday. Definitely make sure that you do your due diligence if you're driving, of course, to do all your checks, and balances to make sure your vehicle is safe for wherever your destination is. Oil change, tires checked, and gauged properly. Make sure you lock your car if you're out and about shopping. Like, be extra secure this time of year because the creepers are going to be creeping. trying to hit a lick. So don't be that lick, leaving your car unlocked or leaving things out in the open and enticing others to, crash in, so to speak. And safe travels, safe travels. Maybe some people are actually gearing up to travel this weekend and be away for the rest of the week. It's so crazy that Thanksgiving is already here, right? Yeah, here's another transportation card. Maybe you're going on a cruise, maybe you are. But certainly this is about transitioning or moving on. Certainly isn't limited to the holiday season. However, it definitely, in this case, is giving positive vibes. Like there's a great deal of promise to look forward to ahead of you. Maybe this even being reassurance of safe passage and a pleasant travels and to your destination. Also, while I'm at it, thinking about the fact that Mercury retrograde is happening on the 25th. We're already in the pre-shadow, and I was right when I said it seems a little bit early from when I originally said it was. We've been in the pre-shadow since the 7th of November. It officially is stationary on the 25th, which I believe is either, I think it's right before Thanksgiving. So that, is just like right in time to potentially be in the way of travel delays, or again, like anything that you would incur in your transportation or in your plans that might not be accounted for. So allow yourself to pretty much like stay optimistic and just looking forward to the arrival at whatever point that might be. If you happen to hit a little bump in the road and get delayed in traffic per se, or flight may be delayed, or whatever, train is delayed, or whatever it is, like just try to temper your enthusiasm and eagerness to just know that like you're already on the way. Could there really be a rush? You know what I mean? Like whatever it is you're looking forward to, yeah, Ace of Swords will be there when you get there. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Okay, so what is this saying on a deeper level? Because certainly we're not just talking about the holiday here, are we? Got the Ace of Swords. What? Come through, Spirit. The 10 of Pentacles. Yeah, it's telling me it'll be well worth the wait, or well worth the trip. Whatever this is, you're gonna have a great time. There is a lot to gain, or I don't know, like what is this 10 of Pentacles? It seems more like a promise of what's ahead or what's to come, even though it feels like you're in transportation. You are in transit, or whomever, may resonate with this message is en route somewhere, or on to something, maybe on to something in terms of a revelation. There it is with the Ace of Swords here. So you may be about to come into a revelation or information, intel that is very valuable. Very, very valuable. This could even be like, I feel this like a stock tip or some type of financial advice that may accelerate your path to prosperity. I feel that real strong. That may, it might be something. Here it is, the Jupiter expansion effect. The Jupiter effect where this is the season of abundance and a season of luck. And yeah, shoot, everything is in Aquarius right now, so it seems. So Uranus being a planet of surprise and sudden occurrences, all those energies aligned could really make for, something quite astounding if you're in the market for it. Literally in the market for it, and activated. I would say this is more about the mentality, and Cancer is also emotional. So like if you're in the frequency for that revelation to be channeled through, whether it is through information, an upload, a download. Sometimes you can get inspiration from things outside of yourself that are aha moments, that sometimes are unsuspecting, or like the most curious revelations of all, like through a movie or, through a song, and it's exactly what you need. Or you stumble upon a YouTube channel, or you see something in your news feed of somebody that you don't even follow, or you're not subscribed to, and it's like everything that you need in that moment to enhance your knowledge or enhance your vision and perspective about something. And in this case, whatever it is, it's prosperous. That's one thing I can say for sure. Let's see. Yeah, and it looks like when you get it, you're going to take it and run with it. Like somebody is not going to procrastinate. This is having the ambition and the drive to just kind of hit the ground running. And in this case, let's say it feels like, I was just about to say, it feels safe and justified, but of course, here we go. We got this energy here that would want to project a warning, an interruption, maybe an interference, like, whoa there, where are you off to, young lad? Type of energy, maybe make you want to second guess your passion, second guess what you heard, what you encountered, what's been downloaded, what tip you may have gotten, what advice you may have gotten, or just like your natural, what the Knight of Wands is, like instinct, like your natural instincts to just feel something, sense something, or have, be aroused by a possibility, and just, go for it full throttle. Now, that doesn't always work out for the best, and sometimes in that energy you may misstep, and particularly as I made mention of Mercury retrograde. And also, side note, the Knight of Wands is also a distant traveler as well. So there's a lot of moving pieces in this energy here. But to that point, with Mercury retrograde coming around the bend, you definitely want to be mindful of contracts that you align yourself with, or commitments that you jump into head first, maybe even relationships in this case. Whirlwind romances, not to say that they can't be real deal Holyfield, however, emphasis on the holy. And I don't mean religious, but I mean pure in this sense, because we got with the devil energy here, there definitely could be some room for illusions, or just to be a bit overindulgent or impulsive to follow your whims. There's definitely an emphasis on trusting your instincts, but with wisdom, and certainly with the big picture perspective of all that you're privileged to manage. Like, this is not just casual. It doesn't feel like just like a casual adventure, like, oh, let me just go and see, or, just take a reckless chance. More so, like, I should say reckless, like a reckless adventure, not casual, because it could be casual, but more like reckless. And sometimes even casual, or what seems to be casual, can be reckless in the long run. So again, with Mercury being in the aspect that it's about to be in, and even already in the pre-shadow, you want to be mindful of contracts and commitments, which you sign your name on a dotted line to, what you initiate new and fresh, or what you jump into head first without doing your due diligence of research and consideration. Really, really, what do you call it? I wanted to say scrutinizing, but I stopped. So maybe I need to say that, like, scrutinizing all the aspects, all the terms, all of the what do you call it? The terms and the, what's the right word? Obligations, I guess I should say. The hidden fees, like, it could even be something as minor as buying a new cell phone, or starting a new Wi-Fi service. And it's funny because literally today I got one of those, like, it's really more junk mail when you're not interested, but it piqued my interest from Verizon about how they're really, like, enticing customers for the holiday season with a free Xbox. I gotta whisper that because I don't want my son to hear. He'll be like, "Yeah, go for it, Mom." And at first I was like really into it, like, that's a good deal, like, I don't mind switching it up, whatever. It wouldn't be much different than what I got going on now. And you don't redeem it right away. There, you have to be locked in, of course, for like a certain amount of time, and you have up until a certain amount of time to actually redeem it. But I was looking at the date of it, and the date you would have to take advantage of the deal by is December 2nd. And immediately I was like, oh, nope, ain't doing it. And I don't know, I might still consider it because technically I've had Verizon Wi-Fi before. So it's not like, it would be completely foreign or altogether new contract. But it's kind of like, even as I'm saying it, it's like the carrot dangled in front of me, like, come on over. You want this Xbox. Your son would love to have this Xbox, and he would. And I would love to be able to snag it for free. But it just, I'm probably, even as I'm saying it and the devil card is staring me in the face, I'm probably still going to have to decline, because that's like in the thick of Mercury retrograde, and to sign on a new contract for something that I'm already happy with my service for where I am is really a big risk. And it's probably not the end of the world. It's certainly not life or death, but how it could turn around is like, I hate the service, like, particularly in this area, if it just doesn't work as efficiently as what I had, or something goes awry when it's time to, like, actually cash in for the Xbox, or I'm, like, pardon me, little things like that. Like, maybe I missed a term in the offer that didn't matter, that makes all the difference. So it kind of like cheapens the deal, so to speak. So anyway, I'm saying all that to say, in my own roundabout way, that something can really seem, like a good deal, or it can be very enticing, And it might actually be a good deal, but it's the timing of it all that makes the difference. And although I feel like we're in a new frequency of creativity now, where we definitely don't abhor Mercury retrograde as any doom and gloom and like stop everything that you're doing and batten down the hatches or anything like that. Like we off that, we're past that, but it still is like a check-in to be mindful of, like just to respect the elements, to respect the transits, respect the gods, i.e. the planets, and what it is that they give when they're in their best energy and when they're not, and how that ultimately is transmitted through our human existence, really acknowledging that it is, but if you don't think so, then go ahead out there and be buying up laptops and all types of electronics and starting new contracts because they got a million of them coming in the mail every day. You go ahead and try your luck, but just make sure you read every single term from cover to cover, page to page, because what you won't be able to do is say that you didn't know. You know what I mean? Or that you won't have the luxury of blaming ignorance. I'll say that much. That much is true. And sometimes it's not even a matter of the contract itself, but like say for electronics particularly, I have definitely done this where I bought an electronic in the thick of Mercury retrograde and it just was so faulty. Like it shouldn't be, but it just is. Like I've had that happen to me where I didn't realize like, oh shoot, we're in the retrograde. And I swear that thing was just acting up. So, it can work in terms of relationships. It can be that way in terms of new jobs, new commitments, new cars. Wouldn't do that. Definitely wouldn't buy a new car. And we're not out of the post-shadow phase until January 2nd, which again, it sucks because we're in the thick of all the best deals of stuff now, sort of, kind of, because a lot of the best deals happen after Christmas. So you could definitely test the waters after the 15th, for sure, but we're not out of the post shadow until the 2nd of January. So, for me, it's like itching to want to do this and that to prepare for Christmas, but there's certain things that my hands are tied because I just refuse to make expensive purchases that need to function properly at a time when it's not peak season to do so, or not most ideal. So anyway, for all that to be said, as highly ambitious as it may be and exciting to explore and get out there and do whatever it is that the Knight of Wands seems driven to do at this time, maybe even enticed to do, justifiably, still take your time. Take your time. There's no rush. It's not going anywhere. If it's still a good deal, hell, who knows? Maybe we'll all be surprised, or at least I'll be surprised, and I'll hit a lick, after retrograde. But you definitely just want to respect divine timing, and it's all a part of it. So I'm going to let the devil, marinate on this one. We're not going to go any further past that energy. I think it really just more so represents obsessive compulsion, and the tendency to veer into that, especially during the holidays when there's just an amplified energy to consume more than there is to create, So just tempering that with reality, with wisdom, with truth, with foresight, and with a higher mind for the big picture. And temperance, which is absolutely a Sagittarius energy. Yeah, but there's definitely something to get excited about, whatever it is. And given that the chariot usually moves a bit fast, but the Six of Swords, that's water travel, so it could be, you know, it could take more time. So maybe it's something that could start off accelerated or seem to like take off fast and then kind of coast a little bit, you know? And I don't know why, but I'm feeling guided to just say, curb your enthusiasm on that, because sometimes you could kind of get a little anxious as to why something started off in one frequency and then maybe it just levels out, or there's this heightened passion for something and then it kind of balances out or plateaus. Just enjoy the moment. This Ace of Swords is giving me something about presence here. But also with the Ten of Pentacles, it's definitely solidifying a prosperity, like a promise or a great potential, you know? So yeah, I know that was a lot to say in these cards, but I feel like I could say even more. I really do. Like, I feel like something's still pulling on me to be clear about something. Maybe just enjoying the ride, enjoying the transition, enjoying the journey gracefully, and still maintaining that healthy enthusiasm that you're entitled to have. I mean, that's what makes the journey exciting, is your perception of it, your engagement with it, perhaps, like, being in the space to actually enjoy yourself, so there should be plenty of that here, and finding satisfaction in every aspect of that adventure when it's at its peak, fast action, high octane, and perhaps even when it's mellowed out, like a quiet float across this, or sail across the seas, so to speak. So I don't know, I'll take that how it resonates, but let's go. Let's move on. And it could very well be relational. When I'm saying all that I'm saying, maybe encountering a new love interest, or just, casual acquaintance even, that has its certain allure and arousal. Okay, definitely temper, that energy, not to override divine timing, lest you might, overstep the natural progression, the divine progression, I would say, actually, because natural could be to, just get right to it, right? But the divine progression and unfolding of that experience. So in a very, very practical way, a very carnal way, as a matter of fact, yeah, definitely take your time. If it's so exciting and so captivating on date one, then the idea is that it can only get better as you continue to engage and get to know. And, yeah, I'll leave that there. Page of Cups. Message, information, definitely something emotional, but let's see what's on the bottom. Okay, it's a message that is not, I'm hearing well received, or a missed message, mixed message. More missed with the Four of Cups, but I heard mixed in my head. Um, So maybe in one regard, as I just said, in the sexual department, be careful not to send mixed messages, and be careful not to accept them, like literally, like to run off with them, or like, you know how it is, like how we can, especially as women, usually, we can kind of allow an inference of interest, particularly as the Page of Cups. It is an emotional expression, but it's very small, definitely foundational, and especially in the case of a love exchange, it's very new and underdeveloped, perhaps, So just to be careful, particularly to guard your heart from being too vulnerable too soon, especially when the messages aren't clear. The Page of Cups to me always is like questionable because of that fish in the cup. Like it's like an expression, an emotional expression, but what is it? Is it flattery? Can it really be love at that page level, unless it's like a child or some type of innocent expression of love? Which it could be, but then with us having the Four of Cups here, this literally could be speaking to someone that, speaking of someone that could be presenting themselves to be emotionally available for some motive or for some ulterior motive or opportunity, but in real time they're not emotionally available, especially not on this elevated level, with this being inferred to be the Ace of Cups. If all someone is able or willing to offer is at a page level, and again, it's not your child, it's not a dependent of yours, that would have to be left to allow to grow before you could just, like I said, literally run off with it, like somebody saying all the right things or giving the impression of their emotional availability. Particularly how that can look with women is by way of time. Men sometimes will put in a lot of time with you, but that doesn't always mean that they're completely engaged and committed to a reciprocal exchange emotionally and intimately. They could sit up with you, lay up with you, watch TV, even do all the girlfriend, boyfriend experience type things, and still be just as disconnected as ever, still romanticizing the past, you know what I mean? Or their mind literally be somewhere else. So, just be mindful of that, since we're in the vein of that energy. And of course, as well, with Mercury retrograde, it could very much so be about returning energies, or reconciling or reuniting or reconnecting with past energies. And in this case, you really would want to question, like, where you been, and why now, and what did you bring me? Like, not in a trashy way, but like, what's in that cup, and what are you withholding in this case? I mean, and of course you wouldn't probably interrogate somebody like that, on site, but these are the things you need to be considering in your own mental space before you allow yourself to be swept off your feet, you know what I mean, in some whirlwind or in something that seems too good to be true because it actually is. You know what I mean? In that case, because it literally is too good to be true. So yeah, let's see what else we got. Oh, I think that was it's the Ace of Pentacles, and that's what you want. No brass rings. You want the real deal. And you see that popped in and popped out. So if it ain't that, it could just be that it hasn't had time to develop. Yeah, here's the High Priestess. It hasn't. Oh, and the Ace of Cups. Exactly under the Ace of Swords. I love it. It's so black and white here today. Like I'm so pleased and grateful. Thank you, Spirit. No secrets, you know what I mean? And also, again, another emphasis on, is this Cancer or Aquarius? Either way, it's intuitive or it's knowing. One of those two. I think I could be wrong. Is it Aquarius? It might be Aquarius. I don't know. It's like, it's kind of escaping me right now exactly what this is. But either way, it's about being very in tune with your emotional intelligence, what you're sensing, what you're feeling, how you perceive it to be versus how it actually is compelling you to feel, you know, and having a great point of reference here with the Ace of Cups. It's like, well, if it ain't this, it ain't nothing, you know, if it doesn't have the potential and promise of this, like if it don't look like it's heading in that direction at all, then we ain't really got much to consider or talk about, to be honest. Like nobody has time to make excuses or concessions for energies that are being intentionally withholding with love or misleading, or impure in any sense of the matter. Like that's not a you problem. It's not even a them problem. It's a them choice, just as much as it's a you choice to decide where you draw the line and what your supreme standard is. And in this case, there's no greater baseline than divine. Bars. You know, like that's always going to be a safe bet, as the High Priestess would be so devout to defer to, you know. It's like, it's not even about religion here. It's just about high standards and being honest with yourself about what really meets those standards in a graceful way at that, okay? Because this is a lot of love, it's a lot of grace, it's understanding, it's allowance. So it's not it's not aggressive, or aggressive is not the word, like it's not offensive, you know, or at least not intended to be so. It's just clear, you know, it's assertive. There it is. Like it doesn't have to be offensive, it's assertive. So yeah, so to consider, you know, what really is deserving of your time, your energy, and especially your love vibes, if that's what we're really getting at here. You definitely get to lock that down, you know, lock your heart in a chastity belt if you feel so guided, and also emphasis on the chastity, you know, when I'm talking about temperance and self-control and discipline and, you know, taking your time, like just really governing yourself as the divine being that you are, and exercising the faith to know that what does truly align with that frequency, again, doesn't have to be rushed, and it doesn't have to be seized and possessed or manhandled, or there doesn't have to be any anxiety or eagerness to advance it to any next level or new level, because it in the flow of the divine, it just, and in truth, it naturally does what it's supposed to do, to the point where you get caught up in the flow without even realizing it, almost because it's just so natural and it's so fluid. It doesn't have to be forced. It doesn't, again, you don't have to make excuses for it, concessions for it, considerations. You don't have to fill in the blanks or, decode the messages, especially if someone's expression, like, well, I think he likes me, I think he's interested. Like with the Page of Cups, it's an energy where you may not quite know where someone is coming from, or if they're really being sincere. That's the thing. It's an emphasis on sincerity here. And that's something that, I mean, it's up to your own discernment, but there's a reason why these two cards came out together. When you're in the presence of insincerity and when you're not, and when you're absolutely in the presence of sincerity, especially if that's what you are intentional to be. So you don't really have to, it's like almost making an excuse for a child, like they don't know no better, or they're still growing in love, or they're still getting it together. That's not anyone's responsibility to hold space for, to manage, or again to make concessions for. It's only a matter of what is truly in divine alignment with you at this point in time, because that's what anyone that can relate to this is intentional to commit themselves to. Again, it's the difference between the Lovers and the Devil card that we saw earlier, and what really holds the truest value. Not just the enticement or the allure, but what has the longevity, the sustenance, the promise and potential to actually last, or at least be pure and productive while it lasts, because everything doesn't have to be happily ever after. This is not the 10 of Cups per se, which projects that, but it is the 10 of Pentacles, which means that whatever we're talking about here has the potential to be generationally profitable and prosperous. And I mean, come on, like, you really wouldn't want to gamble that off on, let's say, so primitively, a one night stand, a jump off, a good time gal or guy, or somebody that's here for a good time but not a long time, and that's not what you in it for. You know what I mean? Like you're in the market for something a little bit more grounded. Yeah, here's the Moon card, which is the ambiguity, the obscurity, like what, but it's also emotional. It's actually a great deal of water energy here too, between Cancer, potentially Cancer, I believe, with the High Priestess. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. And then the Ace of Cups. Now we got the Moon card, which is Pisces, and could also be Cancer and some inflection as well. So it's like there's a lot of emphasis on the spirit of your intelligence here with the Ace of Swords, and really being tapped in to perhaps even the things that aren't so obvious, or may not be so obvious on the surface, but could be quite telling and revealing, I guess, revealing to you on a soul level, and on the other side of that, not giving too much leeway to things, too much space for expansion, for things that do have to be decoded, or mysteries that have to be uncovered, because it's like, why? You know what I mean? Like at this point in time, if it's a matter of an emotional exchange on this level of this magnitude, there really shouldn't be much um to guess, or much to, that's not the term I want, like much left to be desired or to be clear on. I've said this term before, but I can't catch it right now. It shouldn't be so mysterious. You know what I mean? Like it should be very clear, straightforward, direct for the most part, and of course the allure in love can be a bit mysterious and tantalizing at times. So I'm not trying to take that sensation out of it, because it can also be quite fulfilling to the carnal senses as well. But I'm really speaking about things that just don't make sense, don't add up, or just seem to be too much of an open-ended question mark to feel secure with. There it is. It's like if you got to think too hard or connect too many dots because they're not being connected for you, if there's so much ambiguity between the connection or between the understanding between two people, even if it's not romantic, it's probably not the season to incubate those types of experiences for too long, but again, that'd be up to you to decide. But we have to consider is just how much favor and fortune is at hand here. Whether you project that energy, whether you have the potential to acquire or create it, whether you already embody it in some way or have materialized in that frequency in the flesh, like, it's no small change here. It's precious time, energy, and maybe even possessions to be protected here. So you don't really have a whole lot of time or liberty to gamble that away on a one-off chance that's unfounded, I'll say. Okay, where everything in your being is saying like, nah, this ain't it, or it's not really what I want, or it's not quite scratching that itch, or you know what I mean, like no perverted way, but you know what I mean, especially emotionally, because it's us ladies that are often so tempted to just settle and take what we can get and believe even subconsciously that we can make it something that it's not, or sometimes hearing or feeling something that's not really reciprocal, or that's not really being exemplified, so just be careful out there. That could even be an existing commitment, still waiting on somebody to be the man that you always wanted them to be. Like, either you're going to just accept what you have, or you're going to decide that you deserve more, or take action to secure more for yourself in some way, shape, or form. And sometimes that can be within the relationship, that you can inspire a refreshed dynamic just by kind of doing for yourself what you would want to, how you treating yourself how you would want to be treated, even in the presence of a partner. Or it might be time to have a new partnership altogether, or be in a new space, or finally see yourself in a new era of fulfillment, that you haven't allowed yourself to experience before. Nobody wants to live in no Nine of Swords, though. Sleepless nights and stressful mornings on account of your choices, on account of some feeling of despair or lack, resentment, discomfort, insecurity, so many things as to what keeps you up at night. If you are up, there's a great foundational point of contemplation. If you perhaps are not sleeping through the night soundly, the question is, why not? Why wouldn't you be? If you're not waking up with joy, and optimism, and ready for the wonders of the day, whatever they may be, wherever they may be, then why not? What gets to change, or how do you get to change to have that? Because this is what's available. The Nine of Swords is somebody that is not really, they're definitely not living their best life. That's for sure. I don't know what they're doing, but it's certainly not a best life experience whatsoever. Because it don't look like that. All right. Yeah, and the Two of Swords, exactly. What is there an invitation to make a choice on, a decision on, maybe change in directions? And again, Mercury retrograde is good for that as well, for reflection, for taking inventory of, what your choices have yielded up to a point, what you're working with, what you could do less with, or, stand to do, what's the way I want to say it? Like, you could do without. There it is. Like what you could potentially do without, or what you might want more of. Maybe for some people, it literally is just more rest, more sleep, allowing yourself to be at peace with where you are in this present moment without the anxiety of the future. Because that's what the Nine of Swords really mostly is worried about, like what's about to happen. Most of it hasn't even occurred yet. So, like what gets to change even within you, particularly from a mental perspective, the way you're thinking about your present choices and possibilities that would make you feel more equipped and secure to make objective decisions and choices without fear, without eagerness, without remorse, or, grievance for the past or whatever, like, or what you may feel like you need. Perhaps this time, this transit may even be, again, I was saying, like revelation, because this sometimes can be like not feeling like you don't have enough information to make a choice, or you're not enlightened enough to make one. And this could be the anxiety about perhaps making the wrong one. Okay. What could happen if perhaps you don't choose well? And right up under the Ten of Pentacles, it could be an anxiety about losing privilege, or losing favor, or fortune, or prosperity, or just something slipping from your possession on account of not handling it with care. This is not the way to handle it with care. More of this, more of the love, more of the allowance, more of the tapping in, more of the submission to truth and presence in the moment, more of the determination to have the ideal outcome yet and still go with the flow, as the Six of Swords inflects, and enjoying the journey all the way. You know what I mean? And keeping your eye out, keeping your eyes peeled for misalignments, and then readjusting in real time as you feel guided to do so. Like, that's all. That kills the anxiety right there. That kills the eagerness. There is no cause for fear or alarm when all those checks and balances are in place. And with the High Priestess here, it says that someone is more than empowered, and the Chariot more than willful and determined to hold fast to that identity, and has the resources by way of the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords that are supreme above all. Like, it's like having premium intel and, you know, like premium fuel at your fingertips. You'll never run out. You know, like, you'll never run out. Let's see what else. One more card. I don't want to go too long. Oh, wait. Come on, Spirit. You play too much. The Knight of Swords, but it's hella cards, as you can see. Oh, look at this. The 8 and the 9. What are you saying, Spirit? What does that mean? We're going from anxious to disempowered. That's not how we finna end this message for real, is it? Let me see here. Well, one thing about it is that both of these energies are self-imposed, self-inflicted. And even if it is projective, you can only agree with the projection to make it so. So as I just said, like, it doesn't even make sense for me to really beat this down, because this is only the reality of those that submit to that, you know, and that are in alignment with that truth, that they don't have enough information, or they're not trustworthy, they're not responsible enough, they're not secure enough to handle the fresh fortunes and new favors that are ultimately being dispersed, you know, as we speak. That, when you really think about Mercury being a reflective time, you know, this is like an expression of regression that would almost transport you to an era where perhaps you didn't make the wisest choices. Maybe you did act impulsively, or were provoked by lust easily, or deluded or eluded by distractions, or misguided by temptations and things of that sort. But to me, it feels like, okay, so this is what somebody is given. Like, this is the anxiety of regressing and returning to a state of being that wasn't empowered, that wasn't productive and prosperous, of which would definitely reflect or could project a loss of favor and fortune, in this case, simply on account of being misaligned. So that's what this energy is about. Like, somebody sleeplessly considering, again, making wrong choices, not managing themselves, their wealth, their health, their relationships, their opportunities in a way that is protective and prosperous. But again, it's it's just par for the course to be considerate of that. And I can speak to that personally for sure. Not in detail, I won't. But I know that it's the season for that, as so much new experiences are underway where there can easily be a pressure assumed for doing everything right. And certainly like a righteous indignation against repeating old cycles, or doing things that ultimately you should have already learned from or grown from by now. But speaking from personal experience, that is in many ways an irrational thought, because it's not something that can be founded. When we're talking about something that's a future projection, it can't really be founded in truth, absolutely, because this is a territory that hasn't even been chartered yet. Like, you have no evidence to assert or affirm that, except for what you are literally projecting as reality ahead of you before you even get to that point. It's something to be said about just allowing yourself to revel in the grace and gratitude of the growth that has already occurred to get you to a point of such great promise, to get you to a point where you can affirmatively, well, I'll say objectively, assert your spiritual power, and again, not religiously, but just how you revere yourself and how you protect yourself, how you may even exalt yourself above the disfavor and misfortune that you have ultimately probably created for yourself in past experiences. It's like that's to be the focus, the drive, the higher mind. Again, like the bird's eye view, that Sagittarius energy that's thinking from a higher perspective, a more spiritual perspective that is elevated above the fray of earthly limitations, or I should say carnal limitations. But even and especially the ones that you may have been susceptible to be captivated by at a certain time. That's the energy of that devil card. So it's almost like, it feels like almost being afraid of yourself, like being afraid to trust yourself with yourself. Like, are you ready? Are you truly grounded, tempered, disciplined, wise, controlled? Have you truly learned from your previous experiences, good, bad, and indifferent? Do you have the qualifications to not just manage such great privilege, fortune, and favor, but to multiply it, and advance it? And the answer is yes. If you're so worried about it that it's something that actually keeps you up at night, the answer is that you absolutely are ready to manage it and to actually be it. Allow, again, emphasis on the allowance of the identity, assuming and integrating that favor and fortune with your actual human being, and not being so separated from it conceptually that you give it more power over you than it actually would profitably have with you, if that makes sense. And I probably said a lot there that would make sense to try to kind of simplify or to go deeper into. But the point of the matter is that whatever it is that may keep you up at night in terms of what you are capable of and qualified for in the highest frequency. Now, I ain't talking about diabolical stuff, thinking about how to hit the next lick or to revamp an old scheme, or get over in life in some way, shape, or form. You'll be stuck in this energy for a while until you release those ambitions, quite honestly. But I'm just talking about people that are mindful about their magnificence. That's what it comes down to. Like, how great am I really? Point blank. And even probably feeling troubled by that question alone, by the audacity to ask yourself that question. But the answer is already exemplified in the consideration and contemplation alone. You are quite magnificent if all you really care about is being magnificent, doing well with your time, your energy, your grace, your fortune, your favor, your body, your life experience, your creativity. Like, everything matters to you so much that sometimes it can feel overwhelming. But don't let it be disempowering. Let that be even more empowering of just how amazing you are to care so much in a world in which many people don't. They just don't. So there's your answer, if you were wondering. Yeah, let there be peace and balance and harmony in your home, in your establishments, in the things that you create, in the places where you dwell, in every way, shape, and form, in spirit and in truth. That should be the standard for you. Like the absolute is to be at peace and be in harmony with yourself and with whomever you engage with, no matter what the season at this point. No concessions made for it. And that could be professionally, platonically, familially, romantically, every which way you can consider it. This is a command, not even a demand. This is a command, for those that can relate to it, that you will accept nothing less and settle for nothing less. Yeah, here's the Page of Pentacles. Definitely a much more solid offer. Matter of fact, I'm gonna switch it up from to the other side. And it fell right on the Ace of Swords, though, face down. So that's interesting. Much more solid offer than the Page of Cups here. And I would say in this case, much more solid communication, as I was speaking about before, like not having to decipher signals. This is very clear, very tangible. There is evidence for someone's intentions, their actions, their motives. It's grounded, it's founded, it's like, even though it's still the page, is definitely a positive outlook here, where it is that maybe something has space and opportunity to grow, to ultimately to become that 10 of Pentacles. But if there's anything that I'd want to see, especially when the Ace of Pentacles did peek out, is definite. If it has to start anywhere, it would be promising to do so here at this Page of Pentacles stage. That's something that you can rely on, or at least allow to prove itself, without too deep of a consideration. Yeah, and this is given like the way that I'm placing it, like somebody that wants to add value to what's already been established. And they may not even feel like they have, this could even be like that humility of a prospect or a potential partner that may or may not even recognize all the value that they actually have to offer, or how much of a difference what they have to offer would actually make to someone that holds themselves in such high honor and high regard. And in the highest frequency, that's okay. You can work with that. Ain't nothing wrong with humility as long as it's not insecurity. That's another, that's a lower frequency. But someone that cares enough to want to be an asset, again, kind of in this vibe here, that may even be sleepless about what they can bring to the table, and in the sense where they want it to be good, a solid offer, something that can be of value and of service, like that's something you can work with. That's something that you can have patience and understanding for, to allow it to grow or allow it to prove itself or show itself on either end, But anything ambiguous and mysterious at this point, I would say it doesn't hurt to still, keep your spiritual guards up, not to be hard and cold and offensive, but to just be clear about what you're engaging and objective about what value is assigned to it, with no apologies about it. Yep. And through the Mercury retrograde, this holiday season, so it's just inevitable that encounters may occur, that could be intriguing, could even feel whimsical, all of that good stuff, and opportunities may arise that are sprinkled with that, that holiday cheer, as long as you are in the space of allowance to only engage with what is in alignment with your personal standards. You have nothing to fear and nothing to worry about, not even of yourself, to be able to trust yourself to do that much for yourself. You're good. I believe it. So anyway, yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.